Hello, Colts Nation, and what is up, No Horse and Family? Welcome back to another episode of the No Horsing Around podcast, Family Time Edition. We missed it last week. We're happy to be here this week. Minicamp edition, right? So we get to talk about the mini camps. I want to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. We want to cover, maybe who do we think is going to break out? What are some interesting storylines heading into training camp? What are some things that are just piquing your interest around the league, right? So, as always, you guys, you know that we are brought to you by our amazing sponsor, WagerWire. WagerWire is a once-in-a-lifetime revolutionary sports betting app. Man, it's really cool. It lets you get in and out of your parlays before they bust. It lets you get in and out of your bets before they bust. It lets you bet on things right up to the moment. And I know we're kind of going into where it's baseball, there's soccer, there's a couple things, and we're kind of heading into a little bit of a down with the NBA playoffs. NHL kind of rounding up. You can still find things to bet on. Make sure you go over to their website, wagerwire.com. Pop in your email address so you don't miss when the app drops later this year. While you're at it, go over to Twitter. Check them out at WagerWire. Follow them. Hit that follow button. And check out their Twitter spaces. They're by fans, for fans. It's really cool. You get a chance to really talk and explore your fandom. So, without kind of further ado, what are some of the things that we're interested in? You know, we've done a lot of different things. We've discussed, I think on the last episode I riled up a lot of Titans fans. We've talked about Michael Pittman Jr. We've talked about Jonathan Taylor. Who should get a contract first? Who should not? Who would you pay and how much would you pay? Right. A few weeks ago, me and Zach both talked about what would we be willing to pay. We even pulled up Spotrac, which was really cool. But let's kind of start with our feelings headed out of minicamp. Right. Minicamp closed early. How do we feel about minicamp closing early? Right. I mean, you've had a lot of different teams, a lot of different organizations closing minicamp down early this year, right? So, what do we think about the fact that they're doing that? The Colts actually joined that; they shut down minicamp early, right after one of our players blew out his knee, and that kind of seemed to be the consensus. The worry around the league is who's going to get hurt. Like, are you gonna experience injuries? You want to avoid that the best you can, because we haven't even gotten to training camp. We are now kind of on their summer break. So, Michael, thank you for dropping in, man. Michael says, corner. We need a starting outside corner to fill in until these rookies get on track. I mean, I'm not going to disagree. We haven't heard what is going on with Isaiah Rodgers. We don't know, is he going to be suspended for the season? I mean, I would be stunned if he wasn't suspended at least for the season. The big looming question that I hear a lot of times is, we do know he placed bets on the Colts. Did he place them on them to lose? I've heard different sayings saying if you placed them on them to win, then you don't suspend him for life. If you placed them on them to lose, then you probably got a big issue, right? Like, you got a big problem, and you need to probably flesh that out. But if he's out, who are we looking at? You got the young guys. You got Darius Rush. You got Brents. You got Kenny Moore in the nickel and the slot. You've got who else? I mean, Dallas Flowers is the name that we heard a lot kind of come up. What are some of these? What are some of the corners that are out there right now? Right? Like, so what are some of the free agent corners that we would potentially be looking at to come in? So, I mean, that's the tough thing. You're sitting here, it's not too late, right? It's not. It's not too late to be able to put them in there and plug them in and utilize them at this moment, because you are still sitting a month away from training camp, right? Like, you are still kind of sitting back there waiting. Now would be the time. Now, who would that be? I don't know. That's kind of the issue. Like, who do you go after? I'd like to give you guys some ideas. I would suggest going and checking out, go check out Horseshoe Huddle. I believe Destin Adams wrote a really good article on a couple of them. It may have been Drake, my boy Drake, about some of the corners to look at. It's an issue that needs to be addressed. Now's the time to probably do that. Uh, but it's a great point, Michael. Thank you for kind of chiming in, dropping that in there. What are some other things? What are we looking at? Are we worried about other positions, right? Every year in the past, all the time, the worry has always been wide receiver. Oh, I'm so worried. We need to go get a veteran wide receiver. It doesn't feel like that this year. You kind of feel okay with where the rotation sits. You have Michael Pittman Jr., you have Alec Pierce, you've got Joshua Downs, you've got Isaiah McKenzie. That's a pretty good, solid room that you're looking at. You also have Ashton Doolin still sitting out there. They feel pretty comfortable with the wide receiver room. That's not an area that I think that they'll look at. I think O-line is an area they could look to add. But here's the better question, right? So as I sit here's a better question that I'm curious about from everybody. What are your takeaways so far with the new coach, with Coach Steichen, how he's run it, what it's looked like from what we've seen, right? Through like Kevin Bowen and George Bremer and James Boyd and the access that we've been able to get. And then through the Colts, them releasing things. How do we feel? Does the energy seem different? Does he seem like he's connecting with the players? Are you more excited? I mean, and it can't just be about Anthony Richardson, right? I know he is the hot topic. He is the thing that everybody wants to talk about, but it can't just be about Anthony Richardson, right? It's got to be about more. It's got to be about other players, and it's got to be about what are you excited about, right? So what do we think? What do we think about how Coach Steichen has handled kind of his first off season, not his first full one? I mean, but in general, how's he handled through free agency and the draft, and then specifically the OTAs and the workouts? How does the team look? Personally speaking, this is just me. I think they look really energized. I think they look really excited. Um, I think there seems to be a different attitude. Now that could just be that there's a new voice in the room. And y'all know I love Coach Reich. I love Frank Reich. I hope and wish him nothing but the best in Carolina. But sometimes after a certain point in time, the message grows stale, right? Like the message, they tone out that message. And I think that happened last year. I think that it would have been interesting to see had he come back, what that looked like. How did he look? How would they perceive it? So, I mean, I think there's that. I think there's also the fact that Shane Steichen is the youngest head coach in Colts, second youngest head coach in Colts history. He's one of the youngest head coaches in the NFL. He has a lot of enthusiasm. Um, I mean, I think he's run it well. He is he is a hard man to get kind of a beat on and a read on what he feels outside of what he thinks between the lines. He's very non-committal. He's very he doesn't expand on things. He is not like the stupendous interview sometimes. Um, so I mean, I'm encouraged. They look excited. They look invigorated. They look rejuvenated, right? But what do y'all think? Do you think that's the case? Do you think that he has kind of injected some life? Now, what does that mean? It could mean absolutely positively nothing when it comes to the fall. It could mean nothing when it comes to the 2023 season. Sometimes you win the press conference, sometimes they look real good, and then sometimes it just doesn't pan out. So we don't really know what that means. A lot of what happens when it comes to the Colts in 2023 is going to continge on number 5 in the backfield, right? Like that's just how it is. It's just how it's going to go. Number 5, number 10, which one? How do they look? We've talked before many times about the need to get reps and the need to just show improvement, right? That's what we've discussed a lot. The need to show some sort of improvement when it comes to you how your quarterback progresses, how your young players progress. That's the key, right? Like that's the big thing. So what do we think? What are you measuring the season on, right? What are you thinking is the most important thing? And like I said earlier, like I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what are you most excited to see? Like we're in a dead period now, you guys. Like we are headed into a dead period of there's just not a lot of news that's going to come out. There's not a lot of stuff that's going to go on. There's just they're on vacation. Like this is their chance to be on vacation. This is their chance to relax and rejuvenate and get themselves re-locked in to um to the team and to the season, right? Like that's just how it is. So what are we interested in as in fans? This is the time of season too where it's like it's the fun things for me and Zach. It's the is Anthony Richardson going to be rookie of the year? Or is it going to be Joshua Downs? Who is going to be the breakout second year player? Like we do things like that and it's fun. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys think on what do you guys want to talk about. Like tonight's I didn't I we missed last week. I didn't want to miss this week. But at the same time, I want to talk to you guys. That's I can do an episode and I can just kind of talk to myself. But I love the interaction that we get, and I love to be able to interact with you guys. Uh, so y'all tell me what topics do you want to hit on? What do y'all want to talk about? Or does no one want to talk about anything? Are we tired of talking and just want to see? Do we just want to see what happens at this point and see if the Colts are going to make any moves or what's going on? You know, so y'all tell me what you guys want to talk about. I got no problem. Now's a great time. Drop it into the chat. Tell me a topic. Tell me an issue, and we'll kind of roll with that. This is just what are you? Like I said earlier, what are you excited about? So while you guys kind of wrap your heads around that and come up with some ideas, I'm going to kind of do my spiel about make sure if you guys haven't had a chance yet, please hit the subscribe, ding the bell so you don't miss when we do go live. Especially like this week, we went live on a different night. Sometimes it's Wednesdays. We did it on Thursday this night. I don't want you guys to miss that. And then if you're really itching and you really want to help out, man, become a member, become a family member, hit that membership. $1.99. You can do it for $1.99 a month. It helps us get cool new things. Like, I mean, come on. I like cool little lights to help bring in things, LEDs behind me, new mics, things like that we're able to do and bring cool stuff to you guys. So make sure you ding that. And then any point during the chat, if you want to make sure that I don't miss your comment or that I see it or that you want to make a point or you just want to like tip me and Zach for doing a good job because sometimes we work hard. You can hit that and you can do the super chat and you can do a little donation. We appreciate that too. So let's talk about who do we think is set to have a big camp, right? Who do we think is I'm going to go offense and defense. I'm going to tell you mine. And then if you're in the chat and you want to, man, drop it in and tell me yours. I'm expecting a big camp on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, it seems like a cop-out answer. So I'm going to say what I think, and then I'll give you a different one because I think it's what everyone has said is Jelani Woods, right? But if you go back far enough in this channel and you go back to last year, you know that I said last year I thought he was going to be really, really good. I think I predicted 6 touchdowns. I think he had 3. So that's kind of like the easy go-to answer that we get a lot. As far as who I would think outside of him, I mean, I think Alec Pierce is going to have a really big year. I think he's going to have a really big season. That's one. On the offense. On the defense, I would look towards I think Dallas Flowers is going to get into that rotation somehow. I do. He's got great playmaking ability. He's going to get more snaps now because Isaiah Rodgers isn't there. Um, So that's kind of what I think. Colton, I see you, man. Hey, man, you are always allowed in here, even if you're a little late. Um, I want to know, Colton and Michael and whoever else is in here, who are you looking to have a big camp on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side of the ball? On the another player on the defensive side of the ball, I think I'm going to be looking for two players. I'm going to look at Dio and Quiddy. I think they are set to both have a really big season, both of them. I think it'll be really interesting to see how they pair together, what they do, what they look like, and how they're able to progress a second year in the same defense, another year wiser necessarily. So, I mean, so on offensive side of the ball, I'm kind of looking at Alec Pierce, I think, to have a big year. On the defense, I said Dallas Flowers, Dio Adangbo, and Quiddy Pay. I think those are ones to watch. Under the radar on offense, Ogletree. I think that's a great one to keep an eye on. He looked so good in camp last year before he got hurt. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm thinking. On the defensive side of the ball, I would go like an under the radar. I mean, Dallas Flowers is really kind of under the radar. Michael, you chimed in, buddy. Thanks for chiming in. The rookie running back we drafted to fill in for Naheem. I'm trying to remember who that was. If you guys know, hair in my mouth. If you guys know, drop it in the chat. I'm gonna look real quick while you guys do that. 2023 and see NFL draft picks. Let's kind of see. You're talking about Evan, pick 176. There it is. Who is that? That's going to be Evan Hull. I don't know a lot about him, man. Yeah. I don't. Let's see. Where's he from? Northwestern? I mean, they have a good history producing good players. Yeah, that's who it is, Michael. It's Evan Hall, but it's Evan Hull, Hull. So he's on there. Defense, Dio. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Like, I'm hard pressed to believe that Dio's not going to have. I mean, last year is kind of like a redshirt year, right? So you're kind of hard pressed to believe that he's not going to improve anymore. Another draft pick, kind of an under the radar that I like too, is Will Mallory out of Miami. It's just the thing with that is the tight end room is so loaded, right? Just so loaded. I mean, you've got Mo Alley Cox, Kylan Granson, you've got Ogletree, you've got Woods, and then you add Mallory. I think Farrell Brown's in there too. Like, you just got a lot of people who's in that room. That's a tough room to kind of break out of. Let's kind of go through here. He does catch. Let's kind of learn a little bit about one Evan Hull. Let's see. Since you mentioned him, let's see what his stats look like. I'm just curious. Let's see. I mean, he's out of the Big Ten. The Big Ten likes to run the ball. He's out of Northwestern. Northwestern likes to run the ball. They don't necessarily air the ball out. You're saying he catches a lot. So let's kind of see what his stats look like. Here we go. 913 yards rushing, 546 in receiving, 2 touchdowns receiving, 5 rushing. The year before he had 1,000 yards. I mean, he's not bad. I mean, he's the epitome of pick 176, right? I mean, you could do worse. If you're looking at people inside the draft. I mean, like I said, Will Mallory's one that I like outside of the usual suspects. Will Mallory's one that I like. I mean, you're looking at 42 receptions, 538 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Miami was dreadful, just dreadful last season, right? They didn't have a quarterback. They didn't have a team. They didn't have fans in the stands. I mean, I'm just, ugh. But so, I mean, outside of those guys, who are some other guys that y'all like, right? I mean, that's the interesting part. Um, what are some storylines you're interested in? What are some storylines that we're curious to see it fold, it kind of go out and see where it goes? I mean, the major one is always going to be Anthony Richardson. How does he look? How him and Gardner Minshew, are they going to carry a fourth? Are they going to carry a third quarterback? Is Ellinger going to make the team? Um, a storyline to watch outside of like on the field is always going to be Jonathan Taylor and his contract. It seems to be being talked about more. We did a show tail end of last week talking about who we pay, and it seems that more talk has been made about Jonathan Taylor than Michael Pittman Jr. So that will be what's interesting. It's definitely something to watch for both of them. Because a thing that I've gotten, I want to say this too, a thing that I've gotten lately when we posted that was, well, I want to wait till and see what they do this year. Now, it's important to remember these are second round picks. They're free agents after this year. Like, you can franchise tag them, yeah, but there's no fifth year option for either one of them, right? This is their fourth season. They're free agents unless you tag one of them. So you kind of don't want that to go that way if you do want to sign them. Colton, let's see. I agree with your picks. If I had to pick something different, I'd say offense. How and how much Woods is used in the offense? Defense paying real close attention to the DBs. Yeah, I mean, they're two great. They're two great points, right? The DBs, ever since Isaiah Rodgers news dropped, man, what was that, like 2 weeks ago? It feels like. Corner's been a thing to watch. As far as on the offense, yeah, how much? We've heard stories now leak that it sounds like Woods is going to be used kind of like that Dallas Goddard. So, I mean, will he be used like Dallas Goddard? I mean, he's huge, you guys. Let's never forget his size, right? Let's never forget how large he is. I mean, Jelani Woods is 6'7", 275. Let's just let that marinate for a second. Okay. Just, oh my God, that's a large human being. So he's a mismatched nightmare. We saw it last year too. But what other players, I guess, would be the biggest thing, right? Like, who else do we think? I mean, as I sit here and I kind of go through it in my head, there's a handful that you want to see how they do. And then the biggest question too is, how do you measure progress? Like, what specifically are you looking for in camp, right? So, I mean, we'll see what comes about. We'll kind of get an idea of who do you keep the close eye on. I mean, last year camp was so eventful, right? We start camp and Carson Wentz, or 2 years, not last year, 2 years ago, camp was eventful. Carson Wentz goes down, Quentin Nelson goes down. Last year, but we look pretty good. The offense is, but hey, it's training camp, right? Like, everyone's expecting big things from Matt Ryan, and you guys can go back. Like, I was worried, and it proved, legitimate. So y'all keep an eye on it. I'd love to keep going. I'm just not getting. We're not getting a ton of interaction tonight with you guys, and I want family time is all about you guys kind of driving it. So if you guys got anything else to say, I would love to keep going. If not, I don't have a topic planned tonight. Most of the time with family time on these live streams, me and Zach don't tend to have topics planned. We tend to kind of go where y'all lead us. But here we go. Colton jumping in. Colton always saving the day. Blackman to strong safety. Rogers probably being gone. 3 rookie corners. Daniel Scott tearing his ACL. Brent's coming off a wrist surgery. Kenny Morning contract year. A lot going on. Definitely. And that's the defensive side of the ball, right? That's the secondary. We're not even talking about on the offensive side of the ball, rookie quarterback, um, number one wide receiver trying to get paid, a rookie wide receiver, a tight end coming off an injury, a tight end trying to prove that he can go on, an O line trying to recover, an O line trying to show that they are still elite. There's a ton of storylines. And I mean, Colton, you hit the nail on the head in just the defensive backfield. That's just that. Move up one position unit. How's Shaq Leonard? What's his progress look like? Can Zaire Franklin have a season like he did last year again? Right? Can he continue? Can he take that next step to be an elite linebacker? Move up again. Like who else is there sitting there? Who's going to get the sacks? I know a lot of people are glad that Unique Ngakoue is gone, but he did give 9 sacks. Where are those going to be made up at? There's a ton of questions. Just DBs, LOL. This team gives us a lot to deal with. Absolutely. Man, I'll tell you what, you've been through a roller coaster as a fan if you've been a Colts fan for the last 5 years. Hopefully it starts to even itself out. So, those are great storylines. They're all great storylines. And like you said, Colton, too, that is just the DBs. That is just the defensive backfield. That's not linebacker. That's not the D line. Flip it over. You pay big money for Matt Gay. Is he going to be the kicker that finally doesn't miss kicks? Rigoberto Sanchez coming back from tearing his Achilles. How's he going to look? Is he going to recover? We missed him a lot last year. There is so many storylines. And then on top of all that, with the cherry, first-year head coach, young head coach, rookie quarterback, there's a lot going on. Be glad that we have the new coach, so we didn't end up on Hard Knocks this season, because everybody would have been talking about the Colts. So I want you guys to think, okay? I want you guys to think about some of the topics and drop it in the comments. Drop it in the comments to the video. Tell me some stuff that you guys are super interested in as we kind of go into this. I call it like the wasteland, the recharge land a little bit of where we kind of are able to do fun topics for you guys. And just like it's a lot of speculation. So, and I know a lot of people ask, Zach will be back very soon. He is not gone. Like I said, sometimes when we go hard, we go really hard at this. Like, it's a lot of fun. We have a great time. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it can be tiresome. And sometimes we got to recharge our batteries. Zach's taking his time. I'll take my time a little bit here soon to kind of recharge and let you guys hear a different voice for a little bit. Hear from him, hear from me. But it can be a grind, and sometimes we got to take a little bit of a break as much as we love it. So Zach will be back very soon. Drop those in the comments. And I'm gonna put a bow on it here and kind of say the same thing. I know that I love you. I know Zach loves you. We'll get more people. I think everyone's kind of tired right now too. So we'll get it going. We're out. I'll talk to you guys later.